It can frighten you more than you say out loud when one simple thought disappears and your mind goes straight to a terrible question. Is this grief, or is something happening to me? Maybe it was a name you know well. Maybe it was a word you use every day. It vanished, and your chest tightened. You may have stood still for a moment, trying to pull the thought back. The harder you tried, the farther it seemed. Then the fears started talking. Not out loud, but inside you. Quiet, sharp, and hard to shake. You may have told yourself it was nothing, but the feeling stayed. It followed you into the next room. Later that same day, you forgot why you opened a drawer. You looked at the drawer and felt uneasy. It was not just the forgotten thing. It was what the forgotten thing seemed to mean. That is what hurt. When grief is living inside you, even a small memory slip can feel much bigger. It can feel like danger. You may notice yourself stopping in the middle of a sentence. A simple word hangs just out of reach. You know what you want to say. It is there somewhere, but it will not come when you need it. That can make you feel embarrassed, even if nobody else notices. If someone does notice, it can sting. You may laugh it off. You may say, "Oh, I lost my train of thought," but inside, you feel shaken. Maybe you walk into the kitchen and stare at the counter. You know you came for something. Nothing comes. Maybe you open the cabinet, then another one. You wait for the reason to return. It does not. Maybe you look at your pill organizer a second longer than usual, not because you forgot everything, because you feel unsure. Maybe you read the same short note twice, or check the calendar again, just to calm yourself. Maybe you wake up after a poor night of sleep and everything feels a little dim. Even small tasks feel heavier. You may sit at the table with coffee getting cold, trying to gather yourself. Your thoughts feel slow and thick. Maybe you hear a familiar song, and for 1 second you feel normal again. Then the fog returns. Sometimes grief does not look like crying. Sometimes it looks like staring, forgetting, drifting, and feeling mentally late. Sometimes it looks like standing in a grocery aisle holding one item, unable to remember what came next. Sometimes it looks like missing an appointment you would never have missed before, then feeling ashamed for hours. Sometimes it looks like repeating a story, then noticing halfway through that you already told it. That moment can cut deep, not because it was a huge mistake, because it touched a fear already waiting. If this is close to what you have been feeling, stay here with me for a moment. Take one slow breath. You do not need to force yourself to feel better right now. Just notice which kind of slip scares you most. Maybe it is the missing words. Maybe it is the fog after waking. Maybe it is the fear afterward. Grief can change the way your mind feels, not because you are weak, because loss asks so much of the brain. When you are grieving, your mind is carrying pain almost all the time. Even quiet pain still takes energy. Part of you may be thinking about the person you miss. Another part may be trying not to think. That inner strain can wear you down. It can make focus weaker. It can make recall slower. You may not even notice how tired you are. Grief can be exhausting in a hidden way. Sleep often changes during grief. You may fall asleep late. You may wake early. You may sleep without resting. When sleep gets broken, memory feels worse. Attention feels worse too. Even simple decisions can feel harder. Stress also changes the way your mind works. And grief is full of stress, even when the room is quiet. Your body may look still, but inside a lot is happening. Your thoughts are carrying sorrow, worry, and tension. That can make you lose track of things more easily. It can make names, dates, and plans feel slippery. Routine can change after loss too, and routine helps memory more than most people realize. If your days no longer look the same, your mind has fewer familiar tracks to follow. Everything takes more effort. Grief can also bring loneliness, and loneliness can make thinking feel slower because there's less natural back and forth. Pain can play a part, so can poor appetite, so can medication changes, so can simply doing too much alone. None of that means you should ignore big changes, but it does mean there are gentle reasons your mind feels different. The fear itself can make memory feel worse. That is one of the cruelest parts. You forget one thing, then fear rushes in, then your mind gets even tighter and thinking becomes harder. It is like trying to remember something while standing in a cold wind. You are still there, but not steady. You may start testing yourself during the day. What was that name? Why did I come here? Did I say that already? You may go over every small mistake and measure it. This one lasted 5 seconds. That one lasted longer. You may compare yourself to how you used to be. That can make today feel even more painful. Maybe you used to be quick with names, dates, stories, details. Now pause feels almost shocking. Maybe the person you lost was the one who filled in the missing pieces, the one who remembered with you. Maybe they used to say, "You were looking for your glasses," or "The appointment is on Thursday." Without that shared life beside you, everyday remembering can feel heavier. And grief makes that weight feel even greater. There may also be moments when you feel afraid to tell family what is happening. You do not want to worry them. Or maybe you do not want to hear a joking comment that lands too hard. Sometimes even light words can hurt. You may think, if I say this out loud, it becomes real, so you keep the fear to yourself. And private fear grows faster in silence. It fills in blanks with worst-case thoughts. You might wonder if this is how decline begins, not with something dramatic, just small slips, one after another. That thought can stay with you all day. It can sit beside you while you fold laundry or wash dishes. So let me ask you something very gently. When does this fear feel loudest for you? Is it first thing in the morning, when your mind feels foggy? Is it at night, when everything feels heavier? Is it when you cannot find a word in front of someone, or when you are alone and notice every pause? Just noticing that pattern can help. Not to judge yourself, only to understand what your mind is carrying. Because one memory slip does not tell the whole story of your future. One hard week does not either. A grieving mind can feel slower and still be a grieving mind, not a broken one, not a lost one. That does not mean you should pretend everything is fine. It means fear does not get the final word. You can begin by naming what is happening with honesty, not panic, just honesty. You might say to yourself, "I am grieving and my mind feels tired." That is different from saying, "I am failing." Those two sentences land very differently inside you. One creates shame, the other creates room to breathe. Another gentle step is to watch for patterns instead of judging single moments. One bad afternoon can scare you, but patterns tell a fuller truth. You may notice the slips are worse after poor sleep or stressful days. You may notice they happen more when you are rushed or when the house feels too quiet. That kind of noticing can calm the mind. It gives you something real to look at. It can help to keep a small notebook nearby, not because you are helpless, because support is wise. Write down appointments, tasks, names, and questions when they come. Let paper carry what your tired mind should not hold alone. Use simple memory supports without shame. A note on the fridge, a list by the phone, a calendar in plain view. Put items in the same place each day. Keys here, glasses there, medicine in one steady spot. These small supports are not signs of defeat. They are signs of care. They reduce pressure, and pressure matters. Try to protect sleep as kindly as you can, not perfectly, just kindly. A quieter evening can help. Less late-night news, less scrolling, a lamp, soft music, or a familiar book. If your sleep has been badly disrupted for a while, it may help to mention that to your doctor. Sleep loss can make thinking feel much worse. Sometimes improving rest changes more than you expect. It also helps to lower mental pressure during the day. You do not have to rush every task. Do one thing at a time when you can. Finish the tea, then answer the phone, then find the keys. When too many thoughts pile up at once, memory has less room to work. Slowing down can help more than pushing harder. Gentle mental activity can help too. Not the kind that makes you feel tested, the kind that keeps you connected. Read a page and pause on it. Do a puzzle if it comforts you. Write a short note. Talk to someone safe. Tell a story from long ago. Name the birds outside. Cook something familiar. These moments do not have to be grand. They remind your mind that it is still living, not just fearing. It can also help to speak the fear plainly to someone you trust, a friend, a family member, a doctor. You do not have to carry the whole worry in silence. Silence makes the fear feel larger. If you notice changes that feel unusual, stronger, or steadily worse, it is okay to ask for medical guidance. That is not overreacting. That is care. Calm, sensible, loving care for yourself. Please hear this clearly. Grief can make you feel mentally slower without meaning your future is already decided. Grief can blur focus, it can steal sleep, it can tighten the mind, it can drain energy from memory. And when fear sits on top of grief, every ordinary slip can feel like proof of something terrible. It is not foolish that this scares you. It is human. Very human. You are not weak because you replay mistakes. You are trying to protect yourself from something you fear deeply. You are not broken because your thoughts feel slower right now. Pain slows many things, including thinking. You are not failing because you need reminders, lists, or more quiet than before. Needing support is not failure. And you are not alone in the private shame that can follow a small, forgotten thing. There is dignity in saying, "This is hard for me." There is strength in being truthful without punishing yourself. You do not need to become your old self overnight. You only need to meet yourself gently today. Maybe today that means writing things down. Maybe it means taking a walk. Maybe it means resting without guilt. Maybe it means noticing that your mind is clearer in the afternoon than the morning. That matters too. Maybe it means forgiving one lost word instead of turning it into a life sentence. You deserve that kind of mercy from yourself, especially now, especially while carrying loss. The person you miss mattered. That love does not disappear, and grief is often love still trying to find a place. So if your mind feels slower, softer, foggier, or more easily overwhelmed, do not rush to call yourself lost. Pause first. Breathe first. Look at the whole picture, not one frightening moment. Ask what your sleep has been like. Ask how much stress you are carrying. Ask how lonely today feels. Ask whether this is grief speaking through the mind as much as through the heart. Sometimes that simple pause changes everything, not by making fear vanish, but by making it smaller. And when fear gets smaller, your mind often has more room to work again, more room to settle. You may still have off days. You may still lose a word now and then. That does not erase progress. Healing is rarely loud. Sometimes it looks like fewer panic thoughts after a small mistake. Sometimes it looks like trusting yourself enough to write things down and move on. Sometimes it looks like sleeping a little better, thinking a little clearer, and feeling less hunted by every pause. That is real progress. Quiet progress still counts. So tonight, or tomorrow morning, when one small slip happens, try not to turn it into a verdict. Let it be one moment, not the whole story, not the final answer about your life. You are still here, still thoughtful, still worthy of patience, care, and honest support. And if this brought words to something you have been feeling privately, you are very welcome here. If you want, you can leave a simple comment like, "This is me," or "I understand." And if this kind of calm support helps you breathe a little easier, you can like the video and subscribe.